So these two panels tell the story of a knight of Canterbury named William of Dene. And his problem was that his legs and feet were paralyzed, so he was not able to stand on his own. And what we see in the panels is him coming to Canterbury, coming to Becket's tomb, and then being healed at Becket's tomb and being able to leave and walk on his own. Now, for over 100 years, these panels were identified as the story of a lame prior from Oxford, but we've been able to prove that it, in fact, is about this local Canterbury knight. And that has been a really exciting part of our research, to be able to re-identify and figure out exactly who these people are. Now, in the first panel, we see William at a very precarious angle. He's almost falling on top of the tomb. And the only reason he isn't falling is that he's got two of his servants who are actually holding him up. And then there's a monastic servant dressed in green and a red cloak who's twisting back to help hold him up and to grab the staff that William has dropped. And this is just how it's described in the story that Benedict of Peterborough wrote, in which two of William's servants came with him to the tomb and were actually carrying him, and there he prostrated himself in prayer. Now, in the next panel, we see William actually able to stand on his own. And this panel has a remarkable head for William of Dene. This is the original, and you can see he's got a luxuriant beard. And this is how elderly men are portrayed in the Miracle Windows. And he's standing on his own, but you notice that his feet are now bare. So he's taken off his shoes, and this was a sign of humility, and his shoes are portrayed there right in front of the tomb. He's also taken off his cloak, and the staff that he had dropped is now on the tomb, cutting right in front of the money box so that you are sure to notice it. And this is how his miracle is described in Benedict's collection, which is that he left his staff at the tomb as a sign of his cure, and he took off his cloak and his shoes as signs of humility. And that is what the inscription says as well. So it says, his staff, his clothing, and his boot testify to his cure. Now, as William is bending over the tomb to give thanks, he has moved his legs apart, and his tunic has fallen open to reveal his underpants. In the Middle Ages, men wore underpants that were more like short, baggy trousers. And when they did stand like this, their underpants would be revealed. And so that's what we're seeing here. And actually, this isn't the only time that we see underpants in the Miracle Windows. There's another case in which a man who is about to be blinded and castrated actually has his underpants pulled down to his ankles to make it possible to get at his genitals. And in another case, we have another man who is at the tomb giving thanks, much like William is here. And as he steps forward, you can see a bit of his blue underpants peeking out underneath his tunic. Now, we never see women's underpants in the Miracle Windows. So in the background of this panel, we now see William's servants standing on and being amazed at the miracle. And I especially like the man in the back here who's dressed in a red tunic and a white cloak. He's in almost perfect condition with very few replacement pieces. His head is the original and he's looking down in wonder. And then what he's doing with his hands is especially interesting. He's pointing one finger and touching it to the palm of his other hand. We're not quite sure what this gesture means, except that it might mean something like, wow. And this is something that we've been doing ourselves in the conservation studio.